welcome to Popcorn and Joysticks, episode 11. My name is Theo. I'm today joined by James.
That is me. Hello, welcome.
And Hollie.
It's me.
So
Can I just point out, sorry, at the very beginning, episode 11.
Yeah.
We didn't plan this.
We didn't plan it.
It's not planned.
But it so happens to be the most perfect episode.
Welcome to Serendipity, the podcast.
11's powers are coming right through.
So, yeah, in case you can't tell, this is a bit of a special podcast for different reasons. But normally we talk about everything that we played and, you know, news and things. But today is a very particular podcast where we're going to talk about spoilers for 2 shows. And those shows are Stranger Things Series 4, including both volumes, and Obi Wan Kenobi.
Yes.
So we will put timestamps in the description downstairs. So if you're down below, if you're
I prefer downstairs.
If you're looking for just Obi-Wan, then look downstairs and you can find the timestamp for that. Or if you want to jump straight into the action with Stranger Things, then we're about to begin that now.
You can watch both.
You can watch both.
Or listen to both.
Yeah.
It's not one or the other.
Yeah, yeah. It's not exclusive thing. You like Stranger Things, you cannot like lightsabers. That's not how this works. But yeah, basically we're going full spoilers with this one, so it's a bit of a different podcast than what we normally do. But
so trigger warning, spoiler warning.
Warning,
Jane,
warning.
Put some graphics up, aren't you?
Oh, you're going to do everything.
Flashing lights.
Graphics, flashing lights. I think there should be an explosion here, and then another one here. And yeah, but we're going to start with Stranger Things, aren't we? So we've all seen Stranger Things Series 4.
Yes.
Both parts. And the thing that I think we need to start with, the most important part about it, is Master of Puppets.
Tune.
Because obviously the trailer for Stranger Things 4 showed Eddie, you know, shredding up on top of his caravan or whatever you want to call it.
Trailer.
The trailer had his trailer in it. And we all kind of like speculated what song is he going to be playing.
I hadn't seen the trailer. So it was completely, when we watched it, that was quite a surprise. I think I might have seen on Twitter like a screenshot of him with a guitar.
I thought we talked about it on this podcast. We did.
Oh, forgot about that.
We might have just been talking about Stranger Things in general, maybe not the trailer. Yeah. So I'll let you off for that.
But I wasn't expecting that song, and it kind of fitted perfectly.
I thought it was awesome.
It was pretty rad.
It was really good.
Very metal.
Very metal, because of course we all like metal here, so it's like we had to open with Master of Puppets.
Yes.
But
if you don't know what that is, it is a Metallica song. You should probably point out.
Jump on your music streaming service of choice, or go and buy a record, and actually go and listen to Master of Puppets. Pause this podcast, listen to Master of Puppets. But yeah, basically that leads us on to, unfortunately, the death of Eddie Munson.
I was surprised to see him go. If I'm honest, I thought that, well, the death, what we think he's had, I think that he will be brought back for the final series, and obviously we can go into a bit more in depth, that certain characters who die do come back in the later series, whether it's through visions or in the Upside Down or, you know, those types of things.
Or Brenda, who just genuinely... We all thought he got mauled at the end of Series 1, and he's alive and well. He's got a little scar.
Yes.
And as The Simpsons has taught us anything, that chicks dig scars, and America has the best healthcare in the world. Thanks, Lance Murdoch. But yeah, so yeah, you think we'll be seeing Eddie again?
I think so, but then
I am sad he's died.
Yeah, I think quite a few people will come back. But we can come back to that. So talk about Eddie. Him as a character at the beginning of the series to the end, I think he had a fantastic story arc. I don't think, or for me personally, I didn't gel or connect with him at the very beginning. I just thought he was just going to be another stereotypical type character, but actually they draw his story out quite well. And by the end, you actually really dig him, and especially like that, the last kind of not dying wishes, the last few words, what he said. Like, I didn't run away. I didn't run away this time.
He really became that hero.
It really meant so much to him, or really kind of finished the character arc off really well, I think.
I did think they were playing up to that, because I noticed a few times they mentioned about not being the hero, running away. So I thought, okay, they're going to build up to something with that then.
But I think that he had to die because he was made out to be this basically serial killer.
I was going to say, how would he ever go back to the normal world and explain that?
Exactly.
So he would have to be in hiding forever or die.
I think my favourite bit with him in the series was when they're all trying to get to the van, they're all trying to get to the motorhome. And he's like, have you got a balaclava or something? And we saw Max's Mike Myers mask again.
Yeah.
Which I thought was so funny. So it was just like unexpected and just a really beautiful little moment that I think, really made something fit for Eddie, which was nice to see.
Yeah, that was funny.
So we had the introduction of Eddie as one new character in the series, but there were plenty of new characters added to the.
I thought Chrissy was going to be more of a main character.
Yeah, same.
And when they killed her off quite soon, I was thinking, oh, okay, we're kind of off and running now.
We're playing that game, aren't we?
Yeah, but it's quite nice to see characters.
Yeah, the way how she. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like people aren't.
I fell for it. Because it was like, oh, she's the main kind of popular girl at school. You almost think that they're going to introduce her. Her and Steve going to fall in love. That type of story. But actually, it was the kind of the perfect way to introduce Eddie.
Yeah.
And then the kind of the hatred from Chrissy's boyfriend. I can't remember what his name is. Jason. To have that of him kind of manipulating the town that there's this devil worshipping Hellfire Club I thought that was done quite well, and they all kind of by the end of it had like pitchforks and stuff going after this one poor guy who just got pulled up into the wrong
idiots in large groups. Is it?
Yes, exactly.
Like it's just misunderstood basically, and the circumstances around that and him just being in the wrong place at the wrong time, unfortunately,
and trying to do the right thing because obviously she was struggling with the visions that she wanted to kind of have help. So she went to get, I don't know, she go to buy weed or something off of him.
I think she then went for something stronger, wasn't it?
Or something
There was
stronger.
some question of what else do you have, and that's what he went to go look for, wasn't it?
So, I can't remember what he went for.
I can't remember
ketamine, something like that.
Yeah, do we know? I don't know if we even know.
We're not really drug people, so.
Not weed.
But yeah, so that was kind of like a way to introduce them, and it kind of created the catalyst of the majority of the story, really, wasn't it? The majority of this series.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is the first time that we've actually understood. So, another new character who has kind of always been there, of course, is Henry, who, Henry slash. Oh, what was it? It's Vecna/1/Henry.
Yeah.
So, like, they've always been there. They've been the one who's been pulling the strings this whole time. And now we've actually got an understanding of who this person is.
Were you surprised?
Yeah, definitely. I think the way that it was sort of like because of we've always kind of seen the Upside Down as like a thing that exists.
Yeah.
But now we've seen the introduction of how that sort of bled into our world and how Eleven's involvement in that situation sort of like took place because we always knew that there was a connection with her. I mean, season 5 has got to do a bit of heavy lifting, supposedly, I guess, with like, okay, all these kids have superpowers. Like, where does that come from?
But I guess it's where does his powers come from? Because weren't they all just like created from him?
So he's one. So he is like the original.
But they were all created from him? Or
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess that's going to be like, well, where did he come from?
Yeah.
We don't know that, right?
Yeah, they've not really delved into
so I wonder if that's going to be a feature in the next.
Yeah, because obviously he's not dead. Even though you were led to believe that he was. He got hit by a lot of Molotovs and...
If you don't see a body, then they're not dead.
And even if you see a body, that doesn't necessarily mean they're dead.
Which we will talk about in a moment about Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone gets stabbed and everyone lives.
We'll get on to that. Sorry if you're just like, I haven't seen Star Wars yet, but I'll just watch the Stranger Things spoilercast and James is over here. But yeah, so it was really good to see sort of like this Vecna origin story. And how did you think he fared as a villain compared to what we've seen before with the Mind Flayer and like Demogorgons? And
I didn't like the Mind Flayer.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought having this kind of ominous cloud creature, spider-like creature in the sky isn't scary. Having something more like a Demogorgon, something which is more realistic and lifelike, even though they're like savage dogs or whatever, that to me is like scary. I like jumping through in ripping people's heads off is more scary than just this, like, we see a bit of lightning and see the silhouette. I think he was played really well. I think it was kind of creepy and having all the kind of tentacles.
The movement.
Tendrils.
Yeah, the movement going on.
Yeah, the web, the weaving, because obviously the whole hive mind thing, which they touched upon. He's just got this control over kind of everything and anything in the Upside Down. I thought he was done really well, and I thought he was acted like phenomenally. I thought it was really well done, like the way he portrayed it, because obviously, well, we briefly spoke about it, that when you've got an actor playing someone like 001, using that same actor as someone who's like in full prosthetics, it's almost like, is there any point of using that same character?
I did say you could just have someone completely different, like the amount that he had on.
The way that character's portrayed, and you could see the mannerisms, even though you couldn't see the actor behind it, because obviously he's covered up in goo, but you could tell it's the same character by like the acting side.
I think he did a tremendous job of playing those sort of dual roles.
And he had that almost like the camera angles would change with him as well, where you almost like felt that he was there, the nice guy, you know, in the laboratory. And then it kind of would shift to this kind of like downward looking, downward staring, kind of like, okay, this guy seems a little bit evil now.
Yeah.
And then it kind of switches in the Upside Down of him raising up and the camera's like looking up at him when he's on that like whole web system. So it's like, I thought it was clever the way they kind of connected, which is obviously part of the storytelling, is how you visually look at it. It's not just about how it's acted, it's how all these characters are portrayed.
Yeah, definitely.
But, of course. So Vecna is still kicking around, as is, it turns out, the Mind Flayer. Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, Hawkins got ripped open.
That was a hell of an earthquake. Hell of an earthquake.
I mean, straight through Jason.
I was just going to say, that was a good death.
I think that's a good death, right? Like, you were ripped open by a... Like,
not many people can say that.
Worldly earthquake.
Not many people can say that.
No.
So what does that mean now? You know, that's broken the dam that Brenner sort of suggests that, you know, you get these cracks, and then once all the cracks are there, then the dam breaks. So is this it? We've now had the dam break? And
that's kind of what they implied. So does that mean that it's all literally going to go crazy now? Because in theory, it's going to be easier for things to cross through. I mean, if a dam fully breaks, it's just a free for all, right?
What about the people of Hawkins? You know?
Everyone's leaving though. So in Series 5, obviously we had the last shot where everyone's getting in their cars, driving up the road, and then we had the pizza van going back the other way, going to Hawkins. So they could just portray again, you know, it's a cordoned off, is it a city, town, or whatever it's going to be.
Town, isn't it?
It could be like a cordoned off town, so whatever weird things are going to happen there, that they can kind of contain it.
Yeah.
There's going to be, I think, a bigger military presence in the next one, because obviously we've got like the sort of the military aspect in this one. FBI, military. You had all like the helicopter scene and not necessarily tanks, but you know what I mean. There was
going to have a presence.
There was a larger military presence in this one than we've seen before. Like previously, the military's been involved, and you have seen,
because they were being meant to be trained as weapons for military. I just think that it could be kind of a contained thing, because I guess the real world still doesn't really know that any of this is
how
going
weird
on.
this town is,
and everything is always covered up.
Yeah,
which obviously we had, you know, the beginning of this series when they were like in California, and like they had the kids in those school had no idea what was happening. Up the road, basically in Hawkins. I think it's been contained very well. So I think we'll have a bit more.
It's going to spill out a little bit more. I think.
I think it has to, and I think that knowledge. I hope that it'd be quite interesting to see what happens when more people know about it, because it reaches a point where you can no longer look at an ominous red lightning cloud above your town and go, yeah, that is an earthquake. You know, like it genuinely looks like a hellscape now. Which that final shot of them all sort of like stood on the.
But it also goes back to what the town people believe that it was like the devil worshipping and the gates of hell,
and
it's almost going to be a religious thing that that the devil's coming out, which he is kind of like a devil-like character.
I mean, it's just interesting to see which bits the general populace sort of
what they get told,
because I'm fairly certain that we're going to have a good versus evil, good triumphs over evil kind of story going on here.
Yeah.
Exactly how we get to that, who survives, who doesn't, that sort of thing, I think is going to be very much like we won't find out until 2024, which is when it's coming out. So we've still got a little while to wait on that.
But when you look at the sheer scale of this series, you can understand why it's going to take 2 years to create the next one.
I mean, they're paying 30. I think it was budgeted something like 30 million per episode.
Wow.
And you can see where that
for the next one or for this one?
No, for this one.
Well,
So
when
for
you've got a
series 4.
2.5 hour episode,
Well, yeah, I was
you
going
can
to
see how that money
touch
gets
on to
swallowed
this
up.
as well. Is that so the last, obviously it was split into 2 parts.
Yeah.
But the last 2 episodes are feature length.
They are.
And how do you feel about that?
I was kind of split, to be honest. Even when the first batch came out and they were like an hour and 10, hour and 20 minutes or whatever they were, you're almost thinking, well, why isn't that just 2 episodes? Why is it not 10 episodes, not 5? But once you're kind of going into it and watching it, most people in this day and age watch probably 2 episodes, at least a day, a night, for most TV series. So 45 minutes, an hour and a half is like nothing. So having longer episodes means we get way more character development, way more story. You get indulged more. You get, a lot more out of it. But then when that last episode was, 2 hours 20 something minutes long? 2 hours 20, it was like, holy moly, like that's longer than a majority of films.
Yeah.
Just for the final episode. But at the same time, it was quite exciting. It was like we get some food ready, got like drinks ready.
Make a thing of it,
we sat down and like made a bit more of a thing rather than just sit on the sofa and press play and
Put an
kind of
episode on.
formlessly watch an episode.
Did you eat Eggos for the final?
No, we didn't.
No, I think we had
I don't know.
pizza.
Can we get Eggos over here?
I don't know.
If it's a thing. It's just a waffle, right?
I think it's a waffle.
With eggs.
Waffle with eggs. Yeah, probably. But I mean,
what did you think then about duration and length?
I thought it was fine because, like you said, like you will sit and watch these things for. Like it was a bit of a surprise. I was kind of like I think I said to you earlier that I was sat down having my breakfast, had a day off. I was like, I'll watch these final 2 episodes, thinking I'll probably be like a couple hours. Yeah, and then like got through the first one. I was like, oh, how long was that? And then seeing the second one is 2 hours 20. And I had been watching them like one a day. So like just in the evening, there's like a chill out thing. I'd sit and watch them. So like I'm happy with them because I can consume them in my own time. If I need to stop, I can stop. I can pause them. It'd be different if it was like you had a series of movies that you had to watch in the cinema, for instance. Then that's a bit more of a commitment. But because it's at home and you can choose your own like.
You do have a pause button.
Yeah, a pause button.
I think it's quite incredible as well. Like the sheer scale of what we're getting as a TV series, which is included on £7 a month Netflix or
whatever it is,
£10 a month Netflix. Like the graphics and
the quality
of it and the storytelling aspects on things now are just crazy.
It's really good, isn't it?
We personally like
what a world we live in.
At least it's not their world.
But at least it's not their world because obviously there's lots of horrors in their world. But probably one of the most scary things is young love. And specifically in this case, Will's love. Yeah. And I Will's unrequited love for Mike. And I thought that was such a beautiful scene when they're in the van. Yeah. And he's got because we see the painting at the very start of the series, and it's kind of teased as a painting, and we don't really know what's in it. Yeah. So, what did you think about that scene, and how do you feel about Mike? Hollie, could you?
I think it's. I like that they brought it into it. I just wonder where they're gonna take it. Like, it might just feel a bit. Like, are they just gonna leave it there? They brought that in, and then in series 5, nothing more gets mentioned. Like, I wonder if are they gonna develop that, and how are they gonna develop that? Because I don't really know.
I mean, it's complicated being a teenager.
And that's what I mean, yeah. So it's good that they're addressing all the issues of not just the fact you have the upside down, but the fact that they are teenagers. So no, I think it's a really good element to bring in, but it will just be interesting to see where they take it, I think, which we obviously won't know. But I think they did it really well, and you actually felt really sorry for him. Like, he's the most unlucky character, I think, with going and having all the upside down problems and being attached to Vecna. And the haircut. And now this, you just do feel, everyone has their ups and downs, but I think you do just feel the most sorry for Will throughout the whole thing.
Mike's kind of caught in the, like, Mike is a beautiful dumbass. Like, he has not picked up on this this at all. He's taken it on like, I'm the heart of the... He's got the shield with the heart on. I thought it was really beautiful, really nice way that Will is sort of like reaching out to him there. And it's obvious that Jonathan has picked up on this because we get to see him when they're in the pizza place as well. But if you had to, you know, Mike is the centre of affections for two characters of Will and Eleven. Are we Team 11 or are we Team Will?
Well, that'll be the interesting thing of where they take it, really. Like, I'll be surprised if suddenly we go Team Will and it all changes. I don't know. They could do anything. Yeah. I mean, but I'll be interesting.
Will's gonna be a very tragic character in the next one because he obviously felt Vecna as well.
For this whole series, I feel like Will, as horrible as it sounds, was a bit of a pointless character. He didn't really do much or achieve much in this series, but I feel like
he was more of a support.
Series, he's going to be back to a main kind of role.
My worry is that he's going to die. He's either going to have he's going to help save the world in a massive way because he's attached to Vecna, or he's done for.
But he's definitely connected in a major way to Vecna.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be one or the other. So I'll be surprised if his main plot is purely a romance-driven plot. He's got to have something more to do with the Upside Down. Yeah. I think that will be a bit of a, not a waste, but it's like you kind of want more for him. You want him to have more of a story, not just, oh, he's a bit heartbroken because he can't be with the one he wants to be with.
Yeah.
I hope he has more of a story, because in this one, he did just feel like a bit passive and more of a support.
Yeah, he was a background character.
Yeah.
This whole series, basically.
So I want more. I want more for Will. Will deserves better.
Yeah. Someone else who deserves better is Hopper. And I think that Hopper's little stint in Russia has made him one of my favourite characters.
Okay.
Not just in this, but maybe in like TV of the last 10 years. Like, I thought his development from when we first meet Hopper, he's kind of that like lazy.
Yeah, I didn't really feel anything for him.
Didn't really feel much for him until he started to develop that relationship with Eleven, like earlier on. But I think seeing him in the hardship that he went through, I was overwhelmed with joy when he finally reunited with Joyce.
Yeah.
And he's a badass now.
Yeah.
Right? Like, okay, the one thing I'm a bit like, I may have just blinked and missed it, but wherever he got that sword from...
I said exactly the same. I was like, where did that sword come from?
They all ran over, didn't they, to get the weapons?
So it's got to be off the weapon rack, and we just didn't quite like...
Yeah. I didn't... Maybe one of like the background characters picked it up, the ones that got died very quickly, because I said exactly the same. Hold on a minute. Where did that come from?
But it was really cool.
It was cool.
I instantly was like... my reaction basically went from like, hold up, where did this sword come from? To, oh, he's got this sword now. This is awesome.
I did think, though, when they first went to fight the Demogorgon thing, like, they had the lighter and the spear, and then he threw the rest of the alcohol away. And I was thinking, why didn't you just get some more cloth and make everyone's weapons be able to set...
I'd have drunk that.
I was just thinking, why did you throw it away? I thought that didn't...
There's a few, like...
Oh, I know, but that was the one. Like, you've just got one spear with one tiny little rag.
Yeah.
And that was enough.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, they should have all had it. They should have all had it.
So what did we think about the team in Russia? So we got to see Murray being a bit of a badass. Like, he's still Murray, but he's still...
Murray's great.
He's not like
amazing.
Karate Murray.
I've got a lot of time for Murray.
I really like Murray.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't a great fan of that whole story arc, if I'm honest.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really see it did anything, didn't achieve anything in my eyes. It might come through in the final series where, there's actually multiple things happening across the world. And
I have a different opinion though. I think that's very valid.
I just thought it didn't do anything.
Well, I think it shows that it's happening elsewhere, and the only place there's not many places in the world it could happen and not reach global media. Like, it would have to be a very closed country. Yeah. And there's only a few very closed countries.
You say that, but it's happening in the middle of Hawkins.
Oh yeah, I know, but I mean, if countries communicated, if it is, for example, only the FBI and whatever their securities know about it, that will all be shared intelligence. But so it would have to be somewhere where their intelligence is not shared. And there's only a handful of countries you can probably pick where they don't chat, where something really bad happens. So I think Russia, I think it had to be somewhere far away. And I think it was...
I think there was just too much of it. There was too much of him just like... digging holes, and yes, it's for the hardship of Hopper, and
I think you need that though.
You need some of that, but it just kept going back to it over and over and over. And I was thinking, like, we know it's cold. We know he doesn't have shoes. Like, to me, it was almost like get on with it a little bit. I don't know. I just felt like that whole bit just didn't add too much to the story.
They could have cut a little bit out.
I think as well that you've got that, you see the relationship between him and the captor as well, and you get to understand. You get to understand what their relationship is pre. Yeah, because I think at the start of the series, you kind of think, actually, this guy's a really rotten egg. And by the end of it, you're actually kind of rooting for him. Like, you really want him to survive. And I love the fact that he has to escape so many times, and then they're like, we need to go back.
We got to go back. It's like, oh, no.
But like things like that. I really enjoyed seeing the stuff in Russia. I'm really intrigued about the shadow. What is the shadow exactly? Is it just like part of the hive mind, or is it something?
Is it something brand new, or
And Murray with a flamethrower, yes please.
Thank you.
All about Murray.
Much appreciated.
So moving on from there, Kate Bush.
Kate Bush.
There's no easy transition into that. Kate Bush.
Kate Bush. Loved it. I think that was such a great song to pick.
Yes, it was the perfect song. And I liked how if you actually listen to different bits of the episode and other episodes, you can hear bits of that song. Yeah, like just in the background. I thought it was a really nice touch. But to have a series have so much power over music, for instance, like Kate Bush has been number one for like 3 or 4 weeks now here in England. Metallica has gone like straight up in the charts as well. Like these songs, which have been out for a very, very long time, overnight have this like new success. Is like pretty awesome. But you see the power of putting something like that in.
And how well it does. Like there's lots of songs that you probably slot into lots of series, but that just shows how perfect those songs were picked.
It was how symbolic those scenes are.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
People connect to those scenes, and music is also such a huge thing with those scenes.
Yeah.
And they're powerful scenes, so when people listen to them, they're now remembering their like favorite characters being badass and like overcoming something. So I don't know, I thought it was very good.
Well, Max's escape from Vecna to the sound of Kate Bush as she's running back towards the graveyard, I thought was a really great
that was amazing.
It was so shot gorgeously, like just the way it was all happening, falling down around. I just thought it was a very well put together bit of VFX.
On the subject of Max though, poor Max. What do we think has happened? Is she still alive? She's alive. She's physically alive.
She's trapped between the two worlds.
I was going to say there's going to be something there with her brain, and she's on another level. I think she's going to be some sort of
couldn't connect with her.
Yeah, so she's going to be on a whole nother plane that. Maybe this is something to do with the shadows from a different. There's going to be another level. Like there's lots of different, like where the blackness, where Elle goes, where she can find people, and then we go down again. Layers, onions, and then obviously where one falls into, and it's like there's so many. So I think this is another layer maybe of wherever she is attached.
The upside down of the upside down.
Like we were talking about. about earlier, I was really pleased to see that she wasn't. It sounds a bit sadistic, maybe, but I was pleased to see that she wasn't spared from Vecna, because she still had all the limbs breaking and the eye stuff. I know she didn't get the full, which would have just been an instant KO, I think.
Yeah.
But to see that his power was strong enough and they had enough faith in that as a mechanic within the series that it had to happen.
Yeah.
It would have been really
and
sort of
in
weak
a way,
if she just floated up and they're like, oh, he's got her.
She was asking for it in a way because she was the one who had to say, I'm going to go back in there and I'm going to draw him in. So, and she obviously wrote her last words, the bits of paper. Like she was almost going in.
She was ready.
Yeah.
So
I think we kind of knew that was going to happen. It's just how and when it was going to happen. I thought it might have gone the other way. I thought, what's her name? Chrissy's boyfriend? Jason. I thought that would have been something what he would have implicated a bit more. Like by waking, was he trying to wake her up or and
that scene was amazing.
That was so stressful.
It was really stressful.
That was the most stressful scene. I was like, oh god, this was stressful anyway.
It's like really cheering for Lucas and got involved, and it's like it was really tense to watch.
It was done really well.
Yeah,
really well.
So I think it played out quite beautifully. And like we touched on earlier, I think it got ripped out. That was really cool.
Yeah.
But someone else who we didn't really know what their fate was going to be going into this series was Brenner. And now we know. He's kind of survived all this time, and then who knew that he was vulnerable to gunshots.
Yeah.
That whole escape with 11 was like full of ups and downs with, is he a good guy, is he a bad guy?
It was very emotional.
Then he's like, he's drugging her and all this sorts of stuff, locking her away, and Owen's being locked up, and it was just like that episode alone, I think, had so many like twists to it.
Because you didn't think you didn't really know, are they good, are they bad? And it just shows that good and bad isn't like one side or the other. It's very like twists and turns.
I think very much like all humans, good isn't like a black and white.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. It's like you may be doing it from the right intentions, but actually it comes across as really bad.
Yeah. So that, her escape. We had helicopters, we had snipers.
That's where some of the budget went.
Yeah. That's where the budget went. And then amongst it all, we then get I'm torn between him and Eddie, but one of my favourite new characters, Argyle, turning up in the little surfer boy van.
You see, I'm not sure. I feel like you think that some things didn't really make sense, and I just felt like his character, I just didn't get it. Like, he could have been so much more. He felt like he was just the guy who facilitated driving them around.
I think he's that wild card where they're at a lost end trying to find, is it Nina, the name of the town?
Yeah.
They're at a lost end trying to find Nina. He genuinely believes that it could be a small lady.
Yeah.
And then they all get out to take a break, and they've kind of discounted him at that point. His outside the box thinking.
Yeah.
Which I think is people who kind of been on the outside of the inner circle sort of thing. I could definitely relate to that. Where people go, they think a bit differently. Let's cast him aside. It was because of him that they were able to find Nina and find Al, because he's just like, and you think, he's probably just found a mushroom or something. Yeah. And instead, it's like, these tracks. It's like,
but also, he was the one who thought about where the salt would be in the water and to make the tank.
But that didn't really make, what's wrong with a motel and just go buy some salt? Like, if you got that much time to drive to a pizza place, and I just didn't get it. Like, I think they could have been a bit more cohesive with his character, maybe had more character development, and I just felt like he was the comic relief. And I wanted more from him than we've got someone who can basically drive these kids around and be humorous. You know what I mean? Like, Eddie's story progressed so differently than where he could have just been one of the geeky guys, doesn't really do anything, just there to fill the club out. But actually, his arc was amazing, and I felt I wanted the same, well, not the same, but something else for Argyle rather than just to have some humour. And
I think it was nice to have Argyle as being a slightly flatter character overall, because there's now, the cast has ballooned a little bit.
Yeah.
So it's nice that we have, if they did develop him even further, it might have made those 2 hour 20 episodes. It could have been 3 hour episodes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like what they did with Argo was quite nice. Just as, like you said, comic relief and occasionally like outside of the box thinker who solves things.
And I think this is the interesting thing, if we all have liked and disliked different bits. So I think they've done quite well of, it's not like one of us gone, I just didn't really like it. It's like, liked that bit, not so keen, loved that bit. We've all got different bits, which is, I think, is very cleverly done.
Yeah. So lastly, before we move on to Star Wars.
I was just going to say, do you think that Papa is actually dead?
Yeah, he's gone.
You reckon?
That's him.
Oh, Papa.
I don't know.
I'm not going to take the bet, but I think you're wrong. But yeah, before we do move on to Star Wars, obviously before going into this, and this is what we talked about on the podcast, the Duffer Brothers mentioned that this was going to be a real return to horror for the series. Do we feel like that was achieved?
No.
Yeah, I'm going to also
I wouldn't say horror. I said it's definitely got more of the vibe I wanted from it than Series 3, but I wouldn't say horror. I'd just say more thriller, just more of like, ooh, that's got atmosphere, or oh yeah, you're right, that's a bit creepy.
There was a lot of very bright, light-hearted scenes, which also had not horror elements, but like the whole bullying aspect of Elle, like hard watches.
Yeah. Darker undertones.
Undertones, rather than it's like, oh, we're going for a skate, or we're in, sunny California. There was always these like hard watch moments. Like, and to be honest, those hard watch moments of Elle being basically bullied when they stamped on the box or threw the chocolate milkshake over her are almost harder to watch than seeing Chrissy's limbs and necks be snapped or Max, basically being snapped around.
Yeah, it's the real.
It's a real horror.
It's a real horror that actually kids, or not just kids, but people are horrible.
Yes.
I was going to say a different word then, but I held back. Like the whole bullying thing of like, I can't believe people would actually do that, but they do.
But of course they do, yeah.
And those people get roller skates to the face.
Yes, and that was a hell of a.
That was a hell of a whack.
That was a whack.
That was a whack.
Quite unexpected.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think we've covered pretty much most of Stranger Things. Was there anything else you think we've missed?
I guess it's just the where is Elle going? What's going to happen with Elle?
What is?
I imagine it will involve her putting her hand out and screaming and getting
which
is how she's dealt with everything.
I quite like the fact actually the way it was done in the lab, where it was like young 11.
Nowadays
11, like that was done.
The transitions are really good,
and like coming out of like the mirrors and disorientation and stuff. I thought was done really well, and obviously the little Elle actors and stuff. With
going back Bobby Brown's face.
I don't know. I just thought that was quite cool because you didn't quite know. Like, is this a memory? Is she reliving this? Is this actually what happened?
It was disorientating.
Now, I don't know. I just quite like that aspect of it as well.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we've got a while to wait until we do find out.
But overall, what would you say? It's like what you were expecting, better, worse?
I'd say it's what I was hoping for.
Yeah.
Like, it's that feeling of when you watch Series 1, you were like, I like this. And then Series 2, you were like, yeah. And then Series 3, you were like, where did this go? So I feel like we've got back to more or less like the Series 1, 2 sort of level. And I hope Series 5 sort of stays at that.
Yeah.
Like, they brought it back to where, they've brought it back to where I think it should be.
Yeah. Excellent, cool. So that's everything we're going to talk about with Stranger Things, and please stay with us while we talk about Obi Wan Kenobi,
which is also just finished the series.
So
about a week ago for us, but it doesn't matter if you're watching this in a week's time or a month's time.
Yeah, it finished.
Makes no odds. It's finished. Series
finished
1 is now done.
Festival, so it's like, we can't talk about it now.
Yes. We were at Glastonbury, and the episode aired the Wednesday at Glastonbury, so we have to wait till we got home, and we've now watched it.
Yep.
How do we want to go about this?
Probably in the order that I've written down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Over to you.
Well, I think probably going into this, we knew where the characters were, right?
Yep.
So from episode 3, we know what happened to Luke and Leia. We knew that Obi-Wan was going to be watching over Luke to make sure nothing happened. However, it turns out this series not about Luke at all. It's all about little Leia,
Yeah.
who I have to say is one of the best things to happen to Star Wars.
Yeah.
She's
ages.
brilliant.
She's so good.
I don't know how she managed to get the characteristics across, but there's just slight inflections at the word, like
Yeah, just
acting within the face. That you just know that is that character. If you were shown a scene with no context of that it's Leia, you know it was Leia.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
You
just
could almost see her grow into character.
Yeah.
and I was thinking, I hope that in 5 years' time or whatever, that they do a series like with her, the same actor, as like after Obi-Wan and
a Leia
for
spin-off.
episode 4, like just thought that would be super cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was great to see her as a child and to see that upbringing. And it was really nice to have a break from Tatooine as well.
Thank goodness.
There was some sand, but not a lot of
We
sand.
still got a bit, it's Star Wars, you have to have Tatooine. But yeah, it was nice to sort of, the series went in that direction and it was strong enough to pull Obi-Wan away from his charge of looking after Luke. And it was obvious from the start that Owen Lars doesn't like Obi-Wan, right?
Yeah.
Because he associates him with danger.
Yep.
Yes.
And he obviously cares deeply about Luke and he doesn't want him to be affected. So it was nice to see him sort of get pulled away. I have to say though, and this is seemingly a bigger problem with Star Wars, chase scenes.
They love a chase scene.
We love a chase scene. We enjoy a chase scene.
But parkour chase scenes?
Parkour chase
or lack of parkour.
And slow chase scenes.
Yes.
Almost comically inept henchmen.
Yeah.
What can you say?
We have spoke about on the podcast before.
Yeah.
Our thoughts of the first couple episodes, I think we chatted about. As horrible as it sounds, you just got to look past it.
Yeah.
For this, because we got what we got. You can either dwell and just say like those chase scenes were bad, it took us out of the scene, But if you take a step back and it's like, okay, there was a chase scene which we didn't really like, and
I think Star Wars is one of those it's just one of those names where they've always been known for a bit of cheese and a bit of like, okay, that acting was not 100% my thing. But so I think there's always, you say Star Wars and it's like, oh yeah, okay, there's going to be a section in there where you've just got to go, okay. And I think the chase scenes it's under that umbrella. Yeah. Like the Jar Jar Binks, you just go, that's not really I don't know the word, but I think Star Wars, there's always a mixed bag of things which people either like or don't like, and the chase scenes just get labeled under that list of probably could have done better, but hey ho, that's what we got.
I felt the pacing of this whole series was a little bit squiffy.
Squiffy. Ooh. Oh my.
You've upset George Lucas.
Take that back. Take that back. We were just like horrified, like, oh no. George Lucas is mad.
Yeah. That was the Star Wars.
That was the Star Wars gods basically saying, so our LED light panel, if you're wondering what just went on then, our LED coloured light panel just started going strobing as we started talking about it.
Do we need like a photosensitivity warning now?
Where were we? Yes, the pacing of the whole series I think was a little bit off. Some things felt very rushed. I didn't feel like development of characters were done that well. When you look at something like Stranger Things, yes, we got probably triple the amount of time, maybe more, because obviously the episodes were a lot longer and there was more of them. But the characters you actually felt like evolved and developed, where I feel like in Obi-Wan, I don't think there was that much kind of change within characters.
Do you think that's because we roughly know where everyone ends up?
Well, I was going to say is a tricky one, because even like when we went into the very final episode and you're like, oh, okay, now we're going to have a Vader Obi-Wan face-off. We know no one's going to die.
Yeah.
We know nothing bad is going to happen because you know where those characters are going to go. So it was a bit of a weird watch. Up until then, I'd obviously, you do think about it, like, I know where these characters are going, but there's more story happening because more episodes were coming out. But when there was that final episode, and you know they're like building up to the final face-off, it just felt a bit like, okay, well, I hope that this actually pays off now and they do a really kick-ass fight scene rather than, you know, a couple duels with a lightsaber and run and hide type of thing.
So obviously we did have 2 duels. We had well, technically 3, I suppose. So we had Vader versus, we'll go in order.
Yeah.
We had Vader versus Obi-Wan in episode 3. Yeah. What's the name of that guy? And of course, we got to see the full power of Vader at that point in time. So obviously, when he's looking for Obi-Wan and he's going through and he's like snapping necks and throwing people around, you can really see. And of course, he's basically disconnected himself from the Force at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that first fight with him, where it's kind of like, it feels like Obi-Wan just needs to get away.
Yeah.
You know, and we get to see Vader sort of like toying with it.
Yeah.
Like burning
it's almost like a cat playing with a mouse.
Yeah, yes.
You know, it's just like batting him around and just like playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't a challenge, it wasn't a fight for him. He was just
toying with him.
ruling it, basically.
Yeah.
And in a way didn't want to kill him on that episode. Wanted to hurt him, burn him.
Yeah.
Make him feel what he did felt, basically.
Yeah, basically get his limbs chopped off and chucked in lava. You'd probably be pretty mad.
Yeah. Did you feel that the way that Vader's powers were represented in the series were good? Because I think the other big thing that I took away from the series is like exactly how powerful he is. Because in the original trilogy, yes, he's a master Force user and he's pretty handy with a lightsaber. He's not pulling shuttles out the sky.
Yeah.
Ripping him apart.
I think this did show it very well, I think, in my opinion.
It showed
his power.
Darker side of Vader.
And I think that's what I liked that came across, is that you can really see Luke now understands that Anakin's no longer there.
Well, that's
I think that's how the battles progressed. Yeah, the first one, he was like, Obi-Wan was just couldn't even try. He was outmatched, and then you can see as it went on, he found his powers again.
Didn't want to fight him. He wanted to save him. So he didn't want to hurt him.
And then it was that realization of, well, I can't. He's not even here anymore.
Well, that's the very end of that last fight scene. Was he actually calls him Darth?
Yes, yeah.
Which is like the first time he's actually called him Darth.
He's acknowledged that he's not Anakin.
He is now dead.
Yeah.
He is no longer Anakin.
So I thought that
he cannot be saved.
Yeah.
Still strange he didn't kill him when he had the chance.
I mean, I think that's a problem in this series, is everyone just assumes, that's enough.
Yeah.
You know, we get that with Reva versus the Grand Inquisitor. We get that with Vader versus Reva.
Yeah.
And it's
people
just
get stabbed, and then the next
they walk away,
running around like nothing happened.
I mean, does a lightsaber cauterize a wound as it goes in?
Yeah,
does it stop the bleeding?
The only person to die from a lightsaber wound is Qui-Gon Jinn, right? He's literally the only one who got stabbed in the stomach.
Yeah.
And then he's literally the only one who dies.
Yeah, and that's what I don't understand now, is how come everyone suddenly survives from things people used to die from? They should have tied that in somewhere.
Midichlorian.
They are saying I completely lost their name. What's her name? The 9th sister? Third sister? Reva. That she'd already been stabbed by Anakin.
Oh, that's convenient.
And so she had some kind of bionic stomach, metal machine parts inside her.
I mean, in fairness, we saw that in was it Mandalorian or Boba? No, it was Boba Fett.
Yeah,
we saw it in Boba Fett.
Same.
Because same thing. Because obviously he rescued Fennec Shand.
Exactly.
So we've seen
from a similar thing.
Mechanical.
And I feel like that. Yes, she was stabbed in that same bit, and it just I don't know, burst a servo valve or something in her stomach.
I thought that again, you were saying he was playing with Obi-Wan like a cat plays with a mouse.
Yeah.
He did the same with Reva once. And Obi-Wan being very clever to somehow disguise that second ship that it definitely wasn't there when the first shuttle takes off.
Yeah.
But somehow being able to disguise and to get away, and then.
But someone was in that ship.
Yeah, someone has to be in that
pilot
ship.
was in that ship. Some poor bugger got ripped in half.
It's the whole Chewbacca thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, Chewie's dead. There was a second ship.
Yeah.
Like, Star Wars needs to stop doing, there was a second ship.
Yeah.
Like, you struggled enough to get one off the ground.
Yeah.
You know, you got two. But yeah, seeing him just like, kind of just waving his hands about, you know, like flinging lightsabers around. It's like, it's actually really cool. It's really nice to see Vader just being a total badass, even though he's just being awful to her at that point.
Yeah.
Do you think that Hayden Christian being brought back is a very good thing for like publicity? But we don't really see him.
Well, we see
apart from a flashback.
Yeah, so I was going to get on to this. So the flashback that we see in the fifth episode. It's pre-episode 3, right? He's still got both his human hands, right? So Dooku hasn't had one off. So we get to see him there. I don't know whether they actually aged him, like tried to de-age him.
They tried to de-age
in that at all or not, but it was a little bit like. But it was really nice to see him. I was really pleased to see him back in the role, and actually,
I wanted more of that. Though.
You wanted to see more of him.
Yeah,
I think that's covered though with.
I suppose
Clone Wars, isn't it, I guess. But it was nice
for the actor to come back.
Oh, right, yeah.
You want to see that.
At the start of this series, it was like, why have they made such a big deal about him being back? Right? And then you get the flashback, we see him sparring with Obi Wan, and we think, oh, actually, this, personally, I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like, I know it's a bit, takes you out of the moment, I suppose, because they've both aged a little bit, and they're trying to play characters from like 20 years ago. But you get to see their relationship, and I think it's some incredible like script writing, and they get to show how Anakin is sort of in this like mindset of like power, and I'm going for it. And if I can just, it's Dark Souls thing, isn't it? If I can have one more swipe, I'll beat the boss, rather than being patient. And it's great how that, you know, Lucas has always said about Star Wars is poetry. It's cyclical, you know, it comes back around again. And you get that in spades with those couple of episodes. And I think cutting back to then seeing Vader's like, oh, I'll let him go sort of thing was really sort of like a nice point that they put on it to kind of, he must have just been so fuming. And then to have him inside the mask when, you know, round 2, Vader versus Obi-Wan, gets cut open, of course, we get to see part of his face.
That was an awesome shot.
The way that they melded his, or like mashed his voice with James Earl Jones together, and I know that's, you know, there's a lot of effects and things in there, but I do believe that is probably some of the best acting we've seen from Hayden Christensen.
Yeah, that was awesome how they did that.
And just, the audio design behind that was pretty awesome.
It was really good. Yeah. And I liked as well that it kind of explains like the cut that we see on Vader, like in Return of the Jedi as well. And it's like, oh, Obi-Wan gave him that. Still not sure who stole his eyebrows, but you know, it was like
singed off.
But yeah, what do we think about round 2? And we get to see Vader doing the whole like, boom, you're in the ground sort of thing. And then
you kind of see that coming. I think you could see where that was coming from, I think.
Opening the sinkhole and piling rocks on.
So we asked on Twitter if anyone had any like special moments or favourite moments from this. So we had one from Johnny the Large that basically said they missed a trick by not having Vader stand at the top after we put him in there and just say, now I have the higher ground.
Well, I thought he would have done that when he opened the sinkhole and he just fell down. Like that would have been the perfect thing, because there is quite a few back and forths. Can't remember off the top of my head now, but what they said earlier on and what happens like later on and stuff. I think that would have been a nice touch. Or is that just too cheesy?
Is there such thing? Is there such thing as too cheesy for Star Wars?
We did have a second hello there.
We did.
Well, it's our third hello there, because Alec Guinness gets a hello there in the original trilogy when he first takes his head off. Hello there. And then you get the very famous versus Grievous. Hello there.
He jumps down.
And then we get this one.
Hello there.
You know, it's nice. It's nice that he has like this catchphrase, which is just like, it's no different from you just saying hello
there.
Like, you know. But I thought the face reveal was really cool, and you know we've talked about that.
The lighting as well on the face,
very much like our strobe light that was going on here.
It was like when it was first hit, and basically Vader was like down. It was, you basically saw the blue light of like the light on him, and then over that kind of scene, the blue faded, and then the red lightsaber really like glows his like eye and everything. And you're like, nah, he's not going to the light. He is basically been absorbed now by the dark side.
Yes.
I think that just the lighting shift in that kind of one scene was pretty nice.
It needs to be mandatory now that all lightsaber battles take place in the dark.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Obi-Wan doing the...
He did his little stance.
Stance. That was cool. He's done it like 3 times, the stance.
Yeah.
And I think that's the stance of, I'm not holding back.
Yeah, I think that's the point where
he's like
going for it now.
This is my... Even though he still doesn't follow through and
he means business.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we've had enough now. But we had in the flashback scene the lightsaber behind the back from Hidden Christian.
Yeah.
That's then brought into that fight scene as well, where he does the little sneaky back
sneaky back saber
flip. There's probably a name for it. I don't know what it's called.
We're not sword people. We've never. It's welcome to the sword podcast. But yeah, and then of course, that failure of being able or not being able to defeat Obi-Wan, it's like, well, surely he knows where he is, where he's going, all this sort of stuff. It turns out that then it's Palpatine who's like, just leave it.
Yeah, like, don't worry.
Small fry. He's not going to cause us any issues. We've got the Death Star. Oh, yeah, Death Star's coming down the road. That's in production. That's cool. Just leave it. And I think that's quite interesting then that like it kind of shows an evolution of Vader's character to let that go.
Yeah.
Because now he's suffered another defeat to Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
And there's obviously a part of him that's like seething about that.
Yeah.
But then, he's been told now it's like,
he is literally just like one guy who's on his, tail between his legs running away, basically.
Yeah.
And there's so much more to it.
There's so much more for him to accomplish, and rather than worrying about what happened in the past.
Do you think it was a slight strange thing, when they're basically chasing them in the ship, basically when they're all trying to get away, and they're shooting him like, we can't last any longer, so Obi-Wan gets in the drop ship. And the whole, is it the destroyer they were chasing them in? They basically must park up, let them go off. Vader then goes down in his little ship to have the battle. Why not? Why didn't he go down in his ship and they carry on and get the rest of them? That would have just strange choice that he didn't say to the Grand Inquisitor, just carry on.
Yeah.
I'm just going to stop off down here.
Just doing a side quest.
Just doing a side quest.
I feel like for Vader, Obi-Wan is probably the main quest. It's a bonus objective if you manage to get if you get the cruiser for the people, that's an extra objective.
Yeah.
That's like going for
optional in brackets. Optional, get them, but I just found it strange that he then gets in his ship and goes down where the destroyer could have just carried on with the Grand Inquisitors, because they obviously go off and do their own side missions on their own. I don't know. At
that point, Vader's calling the shots. He's making the decision. It's probably just like...
Do you want to say no to Vader?
No one's going to say no, because they
mate, off you go.
They'd say no!
They'd take one lightsaber in the stomach and be fine.
Yeah.
They'd be like, again. I got tennis tomorrow, And I guess the only other thing that we really need to... Well, there's 2 other things, I suppose. Qui-Gon rocking up.
Yes. I'm so happy to see that.
Yeah, I was really pleased to see that, because I did think that he might turn up on the transport when they were escaping, and he's Obi-Wan's trying to connect to him again. Really overwhelmed to see Liam Neeson back in that role. And being a bit sassy as well.
We got a ways to go.
Yeah. You just were not ready.
I like that they introduced him at that point, not earlier, because it was almost like everything had been done, everything's been put back in their place, and Obi-Wan's just going off now.
Yeah.
Then he appeared. It's almost like you have to put...
you have to clear your mind stop,
settle everything, then we can move on, and that's when he appeared, rather than the time of need he appeared. I preferred it this way.
Yeah, it was just a really lovely moment, and it kind of just finished, for me, it finished that series. And I guess this is the final point. They've talked a little bit about wanting, and I say they, Obi-Wan. Ewan McGregor, Hayden Christensen, talking about, we'd like to make a second series. Do we need a second series?
I was thinking about that obviously at the end of this one, there's not really many storylines which are, yes, there is a few bits. I would like to see more, but I wasn't left wanting more.
Okay.
If that makes sense. I would like to see more personally, but the actual story and the way series 1 ended is almost like full stop.
Yes.
Okay, there it is.
Yeah, I'd like to see more just because I like Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I could watch him be Obi-Wan all day.
Yeah.
So from that point of view, just make me some content, please, and I'll watch it.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you think about what are they going to tell us, well, I don't
they
know.
obviously can use Leia again.
I would also like to see Leia's story. So you almost want to branch it off now, don't you? Like you want a little Leia subset, and then
that's what I said.
That's what I mean. So, but
Lula
for actual,
on a little adventure together.
but
cool.
actual Obi-Wan, I'd like to say yes. I want to see more, but
going off and just being a badass.
Yeah.
Again, like I felt like
we'd have a season of that.
This if they do a next series, just needs to be turned up a couple of notches. A few things need to be tidied up, sorted out. A few strange choices of, say, like the chase scenes, and I feel like kind of things could be, well, quite a few things could be improved or elevated. Hopefully this is a springboard to create a bigger and better series. I'm surprised it wasn't as big or as good as it should have been after we've had, you know, the success of like Mandalorian and stuff as well. I felt like this is kind of slightly lacking, even though it's characters who we kind of love, but maybe that's half the reason why it struggled, because we know where these characters are ending up. That's kind of what I guess I think about it.
Yeah, cool, excellent.
What about you?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm happy for it to just rest now. If I'm perfectly honest, I'm really enjoying like Mandalorian stuff, but just Star Wars is a big place. Just go mad with it. Like, give me an Alien series somewhere, you know, like not connected to Skywalkers at all. Like, I'm happy with the where the Skywalker saga and the I suppose like the slightly expanded Disney Plus stuff has gone. Yeah. But I think that's enough. Like, I'm definitely in the I don't want a season 2 of Obi-Wan. Like, and I don't want to see those two face off. I don't know if we will see one, because it's not had that great sort of review scores and stuff. It's getting what, like 7s-ish? I don't know. I think it's still been generally well received, and I think that's deservedly so. Yeah. But I think that just leave it. You know, like you don't need to keep going through, because at some point Ewan McGregor will be as old as Alec Guinness. Yeah. You know, in like 9 years' time. At that point, he should have just been a hermit who's just been like chilling out in the desert. But it turns out that now he's been hanging out with Qui-Gon. So, you know. I guess one more thing before we go. How dark was that last episode? Was it just our TV, or was it like a super, super dark episode? I don't mean dark as in like content dark. I mean like dark as in like visually dark. Dark is my TV broken dog. Because I didn't have that. I didn't have that at all. Like, I watched it and I thought it looked incredible. I think that's the one consistent that you can say about Star Wars, is it looks incredible. The only thing the scene that I thought was very dark was when like scene. What's her name? She brought Luke back. Literally, that was like it was like this much light. Everything else was like pitch black, and I don't know why, because we've never had any issues with the TV or watching anything else. But that one episode, to me, I was just like, I literally can't see a thing. Is that like one scene? I thought pretty much that one scene. Yeah, but the other scenes are lit by lightsabers, so it's blue and red. So no one complains about that. Just that last scene. Just felt like. Can't really see, but no one else really said anything. No, and I was thinking people complained about flipping Game of Thrones being. I was going to say Game of Thrones. This had like that's got nothing to worry about when you look at this. I thought those comments were made by people who watch Game of Thrones on the train on their phone. Yeah, broad daylight. Yeah. But you know, let us know. Did you think it was? What did you think of Star Wars? What did you think of Stranger Things? We would genuinely love to find out, because then we always talk. But I think that's the thing about us. We all have different opinions. Like, I'd like to see another series of Obi-Wan, maybe want another one, you don't want another one, but that's like the great thing about these types of conversations, is everyone's got a difference in opinion. So yes, please let us know in the conversation down below what you think about Obi-Wan, and also what you think about Stranger Things, predictions of what's going to happen in the final series of Stranger Things. You've got 2 years to think about it. Yeah. Team Will, Team L. But yeah, that's it for us today. So thank you very much for joining us. And of course, we're always going to encourage you to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. And we will see you again next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.